People in here to get started. So I'm going to start the YouTube highlight from right here, and go ahead and give the intro real quick and how this is going to work. All right, so welcome to Thursday's edition of Tank Talk. This week's special guest is going to be Spazzodin from Vigil. He is their protection paladin. We're going to get to know a little bit about him, talk to him on Skype, just ask him some of the things that he enjoys about the game, and then from there, we're going to get into looking at some of his logs, his videos from his, POV and things like that. So, if at any point you guys have questions for, either me or him once the interview starts, you guys feel free to post them in chat and whatnot. So, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and add him on Skype, and we're going to go ahead and give him a call and get it going. So, there we go. Hello?
What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Hang on, I gotta play with the volume here, and just have to talk for a second and make sure the stream can hear you and whatnot. So,
Alright.
how's it going?
Pretty good. Just got stuck in traffic. I was like hauling ass home.
Oh, you made it in time, man. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, cool. All right. As far as the stream, can you guys hear him well, or what's up? Just curious. You need me to adjust the volume up, down, or not so much? Let's see what they say. So we got like a lag. All right, he's good. All right. So I guess we're going to kick it with the Skype call. Just go ahead and quickly introduce yourself. Name, whatever else you want to throw out about yourself, and then get into a little bit about your rating, guild, history, and things of that nature.
Alright, my name's Spazzo. I play a protection paladin. I started raiding. I didn't really start raiding competitive until, well, I got interested in it last year in February. I started in casual guild, and I moved up into Aftermath, which was on Lightning's Blade. They joined with Oblivion and Rook. They're now Rook on Lightning's Blade. I left them in Tier 12, and I joined Demise. And I was in Demise for about 6 months, but I recently left it's coming up 2 months now. Just poor leadership. Things weren't clicking anymore. Bunch of great guys, but just decided to move on, and the opportunity in Vigil was there. So, yep, I've been here for about 2 weeks. I joined here about 5 days before they killed Spine, and I killed Spine and Madness with them.
Okay, cool. So you're a pretty new addition to Vigil then. I've known a few people in the guild. I know a few people that are in the guild now, actually. So that's pretty cool. How are you liking it there? It's pretty fun.
Pretty good. Me and Cruz actually decided to come over. I actually joined a week before, and then I convinced him to come on over. And yeah, he's been liking it too. It's a great place.
Is it the same Cruz that was in Forlorn Legacy, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Same one.
You can tell him I said, hey, I know him. We raided together in Forlorn for a bit, so that's pretty cool. Small world to an extent. So just a bit about your tanking background. I mean, do you have any other alts or anything, or you just play your prop pally?
I've got a warrior that's pretty geared, and we just do normal raids on that. And I'm actually leveling a bear and a death knight right now simultaneously. So,
okay,
yeah,
that's pretty good. How are you liking? Wait, when did you say you started playing again? Last February or something?
yeah. I originally started in TBC, but I was never into raiding or anything, and yeah.
So did you tank progression Firelands?
Yeah.
For your guild? Okay, so what is what I was just trying to lead into, like what are your thoughts on the prop paladin compared to then and now, like pros and cons?
Pros, then we were considered pretty much the best. Yeah, warriors had a rallying cry, but we were the only ones with a damage reduction cooldown. They were really strong on Rag, and Rag was pretty much the fight of this expansion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then with the gear, everyone was kind of on the same level, but as gear progressed throughout this expansion, and Paladins, without mastery going past block cap, we've kind of, got the short end of the stick. So.
Right. So, what would be your favorite fight during Tier 12 and then for Tier 13? Like, just
Tier 12 was Rag, hands down.
Yeah.
Phase 4 was amazing.
What about this tier?
This tier, I'd have to say, I would say Madness. I know a lot of people like Spine, but I know I didn't kite on Spine or anything. I was just the blood dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm the Amal dude, but yeah, Madness was as even though it was in the retrospect, it was pretty much a really bad end boss fight. It was still pretty epic. I
Yeah,
still liked it.
I still liked it a lot. I just wish that, like I said, they'd kind of given it its own proper heroic phase and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully they just learn from that. What are some of the things that you think separates a prop paladin from, or I'm sorry, what are some of the things you think separates a good prop paladin from a great prop paladin?
Um, Basically your usage of watching all your cooldowns, because I mean, basic power paladins have a lot of cooldowns, and I mean, basically you start off with you want to start going for mastery, and then you get the clock cap, and then you're gonna go stam. The more stam, the better. I don't know. I've seen a lot of prop paladins who just don't know what to do with Holy Shield. They macro it on Crusader Strike. They don't think it's a viable cooldown. Knowing when to glyph your Divine Prot is huge. Um, Lots of tanks don't like to spec in Guard by the Light, but I think it's crucial. Guard by the Light is amazing. Of course, pre-War of Glory nerf, it was stupid, but
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you hands down there. That is a really big point that I see a lot of people not, people like, I don't think Wallhacks is a firm believer in. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he's like, nobody uses Guarded by the Light, but yeah, I mean it's pretty big.
well, I mean, other than our two-piece, we have to rely on external shields and bubbles. I mean, Guarded by the Light, if you can get a nice crit right before that moment, it can be a lifesaver.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking with you, Wallhacks. Calm down. But I told you, man, you need to pick that up. It's definitely a really key talent. But yeah, so I can only imagine, like, popping wings and using that on impales for madness and things like that. It gives you a pretty large buffer and whatnot.
Yeah.
So let's see. Uh, Go into your mindset, because I know every time that I do the tank Q&As and things like that, everybody's always asking me why I go mastery or why don't I go avoidance. Like, what's your reasoning behind wanting to focus on stamina outside of, once you hit CTC cap, as opposed to avoidance?
Um, well, stamina. I mean, you mentioned a lot. Stamina is always there, and I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with that bigger HP pool. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, because I mean, yeah, a lot of people. I mean, even Absalom. I mean, he uses the spine trinket, but I don't know that dodge trinket. Something about it irks me. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's very fight situational. I don't think I don't know. I actually would have to ask him if he used it constantly. I know he doesn't use it on all the fights.
I
Uh,
mean, he may just use it to get the armory
yeah, eye
bonus
level
or
and
whatever.
whatnot. But
Yeah.
I know it is good for some fights, but yeah, I'd agree with you. There's a lot of fights where it's just like, yeah, it's almost pointless to wear. Um, let's see, there's one other thing I had. Oh, about your weapon. I was just, let's go ahead. I want to throw your armory in stream chat, and then we're gonna just um, go over some questions about, itemization, since that's kind of where we're headed right now. Anyway, just talking about your gearing. Um, your choice of weapon. And I mean, I play my prop pally a little bit, but not like super. Uh, I know enough about it just to by talking to abs and whatnot. But as far as your choice of weapon, I know, and the reason I'm asking is because I haven't looked into it super in depth. Um, I think that the Morchok one-hander is going to have a lot of viability over the Soul Drinker. But I mean, in your opinion, what do you choose and why?
Well, basically because mastery block plus cap is useless for us, and I mean, if you go through the logs, I mean, Soul Drinker, I think on our spine kill I was looking at earlier today, did like 40% of my self healing. I mean, it's kind of nice to have. I mean, it's got more strength than the Morchok, so that's more parry. Um, and yeah, I mean, just making sure. My goal was to basically get to that weapon as soon as I got the hero version, use it, test it out, see if I liked it, and then gem accordingly that I'm block cap barely
Mm-hmm.
without food buff and that weapon.
Right, and
Yeah,
that's important that you mention that because a lot of people probably don't really think about that. You want to be CTC capped outside of your food buff in the event that you end up dying and have to get a B-res. You don't want to, like, come up without being block capped. So that's a good point that he brought up there
hmm
for anybody that's wondering why he's saying that. So let's see, just looking at the rest of his gear and whatnot. Trinket choices, Indomitable Pride. I mean, that's good for almost any class tank. One thing I was thinking about today is, like, I'm pretty sure they're going to end up having to nerf that trinket at some point just because of it not really having a cap and it being percent based. And, when your health is reduced below 50%, you gain a shield equal to 56% of the damage done. So, like,
on Impales, it's stupid.
not just that, but I mean, think about it next expansion. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, it's going to have a lower stamina value, but there are going to be some fight mechanics. I mean, I'm just saying that they're opening it up to be, they're opening it up to be very overpowered in certain situations. So I'm curious to see what they'll plan to do with that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there would have been times if you think about it, like if there would not have been a Toll Brad trinket, there would have been plenty of times this expansion that tanks would have been using Cindergosa's Flawless Fang or whatever from ICC.
Yeah, I still have mine. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just another one of those trinkets that I could see being of use like that. And I know, like, during Lich King progression, I think it was the Primo Pally used to use that Scarab trinket from AQ that had like a percent. It was like a mini Volnir on a trinket, and they were using that for Soul Reapers and things of that nature. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how trinkets like that play out in later content. But let's see. Let's see. You have a heroic hard heart ring. I am quite jelly, to be honest. We've yet to see one of those drop in our run, so that's pretty good. What about you haven't seen a what is it, Curled Twilight Claw or something for your other ring?
Oh, I've seen them. I just been passing the DPS.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty solid ring.
The boots don't want to drop on Ultraxion though, so that's nice.
Yeah. What about, let's look at your professions. I see blacksmithing and jewel crafting. I mean, what are your thoughts on your props? I mean, being individual, you guys press content pretty hard. I mean, how do you? I guess, what are your thoughts on having jewel crafting since it's not as good as some of the other professions at the moment?
Well, initially I was leaning on that they were gonna buff it, but they ended up not doing anything. So, but I don't know. I've always, for blacksmithing, I've always liked the just extra sockets, and especially with epic gems. I mean, it's still greater than, like, if I had leather working in there, for example, for the 130 stem. It would be more, but I don't know. I never just caught trained to that alchemy leatherworking boat that everyone was going on. I just stuck with jewel crafting and blacksmithing. I just always felt more comfortable with it. But I'm always open to other things. But yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Let's see here. I see that you've reforged a bit into parry. I'm guessing that's to keep it pretty equal once you get raid buffs and whatnot for DR.
Yeah, I'm only like 0.05 dodge ahead of parry.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Full buffed, yeah.
That's good stuff. All right, and then we're gonna move on to. Actually, real quick, I noticed here your meta has the 1% shield block value. Do you think that? I mean, I guess what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I haven't really read into the math on that compared to the 2% armor.
Well, initially the 2% armor was greater in tier 11, and I think most part of tier 12, but I could be wrong on that. But basically, I mean, Tangadin Thek, who goes huge in the numbers, the guy's insane. He basically wrote this huge article comparing numbers, and that the shield block meta was better. So most people caught train, but on Madness, I do switch it with the 2%, just because I'm not block capped.
Right. Yeah, you can't block the, well, you can't block the impale either. So
yeah,
probably has a lot to do with it. So yeah, it's good to know. I always saw the Pallies using that, and it's if you actually just at some point, not right now, but just toss a link to that post or whatnot you're talking about. I would go take a look at it just for my own knowledge.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to move on to your spec here. So this looks like exactly. Yeah, this is the spec I pretty much use on my pally, I think. Let me double check. Going to see here. Yep, it looks pretty much the same. Let's check out your glyphs. Crusader Strike, Seal Truth, and Righteousness. You don't ever have a use for Word of Glory, or what's up?
Wait, what was the question?
Your glyph choices, not having Word of Glory, or do you ever switch that around?
Oh, I switch it around a bunch. My glyphs are never accurate.
Oh, okay. So it's like fight by fight basis. You just kind of
Basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to see. It's I know probably a lot of people don't end up doing that. They just pick their glyphs and go. But it's always good to have a stack of Disappearance Dust and be switching them out, like you said earlier.
I think this was this was spines, just to have the extra crit for the Amals since I'm on the Amals, just to get that DPS in, and the focus and the mana. Yeah.
Right, because there's no like suit. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just referencing like certain fights, meaning glyph div prot is pretty huge. Having a 1 minute cooldown on a 40% magic reduction is really nice on a lot of fights.
So yeah, if you don't have it on your size, you're pretty much toast.
Yeah. How often do you find yourself using the Tolbarad trinket on a pally?
I actually use it on your size progression. I used that, and I think it was a LFR Indomitable. And yeah, I used the Tolbarad. Once I hit one stack, I would pop Tolbarad. And then once the next set of came, because at the time the dot was longer, once this next set came, I would use my diff prot. And then they would both be back up at the time when he would stack, so yeah. But as the fight got nerfed, I mean, I've only just kept diff prot.
So what about, I see you have your Lay on Hands glyph in. Do you, I know there were times where I was using that as well. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, how often do you really see the glyph coming into play as, something that was good to have?
The Lay on Hands one?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it's just always been there. I mean, like, take Rag, for example. The fight was 14 minutes. Spine was like 14 minutes. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. And that 7-minute cooldown is just quicker time. It can come back up. It's just what I've always felt.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, that's reducing it, from 10 to 7. So, yeah, it's quite a bit of a reduction on that cooldown costs and whatnot. So, yeah, it's pretty. I like your spec quite a bit. I know you see a lot of pallies that do a little different going on. Some people pick up Hallowed Ground for some reason. I'm not really sure. How often do you find yourself using Consecrate? Very much, or not so much?
I'll use it because I'm never really mana starved, but I mean, I'll use it on the pole sometimes, and I'll use it on ads, but other than that, there's no reason to spec in it. In my opinion, it's a waste.
What about as far as keeping up Inquisition while tanking? Because I know a lot of the pallies you see, they do like a rotation with Inquisition, or to get Inquisition active with the 3 Holy Power, then do one with Shield Slam, and then do another one. Just swap back and forth between a 3-point Shield Slam and a 3-point Inquisition. What is your rotation on your pally?
Yeah, on Ultraxion progression, I actually was going through that, and I had a weird spec at the time, but I would do exactly that. I would pop Inquisition, and then I would Shield Slam, and I'd usually get a Sacred Duty proc, so that was pretty nice. And I just compared the logs to not using Inquisition, or just Shield Slamming, and then Inquisition came out a little bit on top. And I mean, for ads, since we don't really have like Snap Threat, I mean, Inquisition, just that extra damage is nice. I mean, Consecrate is pretty weak sometimes, so.
Let's see. Okay, if you had to pick a change that you would want to see done to Protection Paladins going into Miss, I know they're trying to rework the block cap and things like that, but I mean, outside of how they're going to rework block capping, what is something that you think that you would hope that they would address or change?
They've already fixed the Word of Glory issue, which I like, and the whole 5 Holy Power thing is pretty interesting.
Oh, what you're referencing the Word of Glory? What were they changing on that?
It's a 1.5 second cooldown now.
Oh, okay, so they're putting it back pretty much where it was at the beginning
Yeah.
of Kata. Okay.
And protection paladins have a 5 holy power pool, but things still cost 3. So basically, you could, have 5 Word of Glory yourself, and then Crusader Strike real quick, and then Shield Slam. It just adds it's like a quicker pace of tanking,
Yeah.
which would be interesting. Honestly, increase the duration of DSAC because holy crap, 6 seconds is ridiculous.
Yeah, I would also like them to kind of increase the, not, or I guess not just increase, just remove the limited range on it. That's pretty frustrating at times, and especially before you guys got the 4-piece this tier. I mean, it was like 30 yards. So, I mean, it was almost insane. You had to be on top of
it
the
was
raid.
painful on Rag, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one
and
thing.
AD, that needs to be shorter cooldown because honestly, 3 minutes, it's the same length as a shield wall, and most people only use it for
The damage
for
reduction.
20% anyways, yeah. So
it's that the auto save, it just kind of lost its appeal, to be honest, after they, I don't know, I mean, it's not putting you back up to enough health, I don't, in my opinion, to really make, because I mean, I think it was 15%, right? In case I'm having a brain fart here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the self heal is like 15%, so I don't know, it just seems pretty rough, and I agree with you. Yeah, it's being on a 3-minute cooldown, it's very, very expensive for only having 20% whenever you, or damage reduction while it's active, so. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I expected a lot of changes. I don't really know if that Word of Glory thing will stick because, I mean, that was a huge part of why I got changed in the first place. I remember playing my Pally. That was the first alt that I got to 85. And, I mean, it was just you could sit there and, Word of Glory every few GCDs on yourself, and it was just insane. And, yeah. So.
yeah.
But, I mean, if they're changing block tanking or block capping and things like that, then it may have its own place,
Yeah, and the fact that there's that one talent where you can for protection trees, they're keeping the ret 2-piece, so your judge will give you a holy power. So they're definitely gonna quicken up the pace that you do your rotation as a paladin, just more options, which I find appealing.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll segment into some videos here that you linked me on Twitch and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these buffering and toss them in stream chat. And go with 720p on Ultraxion. I'll go ahead and throw that in there, and then we're also going to be looking at his you've got one here labeled first barrel roll cheese. What is that one?
You know how you can stand in the middle of the tornado?
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah,
A list resort, yeah. Apparently we were the first, I guess. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
Do you by chance have a spine video of you, or no?
No.
Okay.
When we were doing it, my tidy plates was literally hogging all my memory, and fraps was just not an option.
Alright, so we're going to go with the Ultraxion vid here. I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this.
It's a fairly old UI. I mean, I tweak things a lot.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and speaking of that, that's one of the things I was going to go over off the bat, and just taking a look at your UI here. I know we got a lot of people hopping in for the show now. We've got over 100-something people joined recently. Right now we are interviewing, I'm just going to toss it in the floating text here. Alright, Tank Talk with Spazzo from Vigil. US Malganis, MAL apostrophe GANIS. Okay.
Capital G.
Got it. Alright, so I'm going to put that over here. That way people know what's going on. Instead of everybody asking what's going on. That's usually the first thing people say when they join. So, actually, we're going to make this full screen. So,
Actually trying to find a screenshot of my most recent picture right now.
Okay. We're going to go back here and take a look at his UI. As you know here, or as you can see with his UI, this is something that you see a lot of the tanks that, have been around a bit or, playing in, I mean, it's not all the tanks, but it's pretty common where, tanks that more or less know what they're doing, for lack of a better phrase, is, they kind of have things centralized around their character. And what this does is it eliminates, what you need to be paying attention to, because whenever you're tanking, you don't really have, especially on progression, whenever everything is kind of new, you don't have that like muscle memory or repetition built in. You don't really have the luxury of, say people have their debuffs like on the opposite side of their screen or something like that. It's always really good to have it centralized like he does here. You see his unit frames, his holy power, this is his buffs, his cooldowns, all this shit is just like right in here, right around his character. So, just curious, how long did it take you? Did you make this UI or did you get this from someone else?
I made that. I changed it so much. It's ridiculous. It's just like an evolution.
Alright, do you have an updated screenshot? We'll just show that one.
Yeah, I'm sending it. I'm uploading it right now. Hold on. Gotta find it.
No rush. While we're waiting on that, I'm just gonna hit play, or actually, I'll go ahead and pause it and let him commentate what he's using, like as far as his opener, and we'll get into a little bit more in depth for this fight that he's letting us look at.
Okay. There we go.
What's up?
Nothing. Just looking for something. I was gonna actually fill out my spec I did on Ultraxion progression.
Okay, while we're waiting on him to do that, I want to go back to the video here. Try to eliminate some downtime. You see here, whenever he's pulling, we'll let him get into this in a minute, but I linked the video in chat. Somebody can relink it if they need to. But as you see here, right before they pull, this is, and the reason I want to go over this is we had a tank last night around, I think it was like 1 a.m. or so. He was just kind of hanging out after the raids and stuff were over, and we got to talking. And he was kind of new to the Ultraxion fight, and his guild was having some issues with, dealing with Ultraxion, tanking-wise. And this video illustrates exactly what I was giving him pointers on. As you can see right off the pull, there's a buff that goes out, or debuff, whatever, that gets put on the tanks, and it's called Last Defender of Azeroth, and it basically doubles the duration of all your defensive cooldowns and halves the cooldown of each of them. So everything lasts twice as long, and it's on half the cooldown. So it's basically like you're a tank that's juicing, for this fight. And the reason I say that, as you can see here, when they pull, it looks like they're doing this with a Prop Paladin and a Blood Death Knight. And you can see him and the Death Knight pop all of their cooldowns within the first, 10 seconds, or, 5 seconds of the fight. You want to get them all on cooldown, because what happens is when that buff goes out, you will, it will reset all of your defensive CDs. So that's one thing that you can see in this video and whatnot. Let's see. So I think he just tossed a link to his, okay, this is his Ultraxion progression spec. We'll let him, or you can go ahead and explain it for the people that are looking. I'll toss a link in stream chat.
Yep. So basically I wanted 2/2 Reckoning for just higher chance, more damage. I spec that of Improved Judgment because you're on the boss's nuts in the first place and you don't really need it. And Pursuit of Justice because you're not moving. So you can put 2 into Eye for an Eye.
So Eye for an Eye is how much damage are you actually getting out of that back onto the boss? I'm assuming it's proccing from the instability buffet.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything extreme, but it's something. It was something at the time because we were, Ultraxion was crazy back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually started with one point in Arbitrary of the Light, but then I switched to Judgment of the Pure. I just saw an increase in DPS.
Wait, which one is the one you're talking? You had it in which initially?
Arbiter of the Light increased critical effect of Judgment and Templar's Verdict. So my Judge had a bigger crit chance. But I went to the Judgment of the Pure to increase melee haste by 3%. And the Holy Tree.
Okay, it's killing me, dude. I'm not familiar with that talent. Okay, so this is Arbiter of the Light, increases critical effect chance of your Judgment and Templar's Verdict. Yeah, I could see. Okay, so you're saying that the haste actually provided more damage gain than that whenever you're looking at it? How much? Like substantial or?
It was it was enough. It wasn't anything like, groundbreaking, but it was like it just,
Noticeable at least?
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good to know. What about glyphs? Like for your Ultraxion, which glyphs were you going with?
I went with Primes, I went with Crusader Strike, Seal Truth, and Righteousness. Um, Majors, I went with Focused, Ascetic, and I think I want to say Consecration. Either that or Hammer Wrath. No, it was Hammer Wrath. That's right. Just at the end, Excuse and Phase. Just
Mm-hmm.
if I'm in case of mana starve for some reason, you never know. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I'm gonna re-link this with glyphs in there in case people were just checking it out. I mean, if you guys are a prop paladin on Ultraxion, I mean, this looks pretty min-maxed for the most part. I was just looking at it though. I mean, if it would at all be possible, I would think maybe try to milk 2 points out of Hallowed Ground. I mean, because like you said, any amount of damage gain. I mean, especially doing that fight week 1 or whenever people did it. I mean, you talk about like 200k damage. I mean, that's stuff people would lose the left pinky toe for at that point, because I can't tell you how many wipes that we had at either 0 or 1% or something like that. So every amount of damage helps. I'd say if anything, maybe switch out Guarded by the Light for Hallowed Ground for just that extra damage output, maybe. But I know the Hallowed Ground probably, or not, I'm sorry, I know the Guarded by the Light probably helped you out whenever tanking the Hour of Twilights and whatnot. That's probably
post time loop. It was pretty nice. Just anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's just. Did you have a link for your UI, your updated UI, or no?
Yeah, I sent it.
Oh, okay.
I sent it, yeah.
No, I didn't get it actually. Or did you send it on Twitch?
It was on Skype.
No, I didn't get it.
All right.
Wally, what do you think, man? What didn't hit the boss? Consecrate or what? Wally's our other resident prot paladin. Okay, we're gonna get his new UI in here and just compare this with a video, and just as you see here, he's got some, better better looking raid frames instead of just the standard blocks. But I mean, that's just personal preference. But I mean, even still, actually, he's got a lot more going on. This is really nice, really nice. He's got all these power wars that he has set up. I'm assuming these are power wars, right? Or okay, yeah. He's got all these power wars set up. I mean, this is something that you need to be able to if you guys ever watch the stream and you see whenever I'm taking. I mean, you've got to have all these power wars. Just it's an information hub, so you know when you have buffs, when you don't have buffs, and as any tank, it doesn't matter the class. You need to be monitoring stuff like Ancestral Fortitude or Inspiration, Ancestral Vigor, having Battle Shout or Horn of Winter, Devo Aura or Stone Skin, and Earth Shield. Anything that can benefit you from a survivability standpoint, you need to make sure that you have that active, like on your screen and somewhere that's easy to locate and see. So, yeah, just real quick, I got the screenshot up for them. If you just go over kind of how you have things set up and whatnot, because a lot of people always ask questions about UIs.
Yep. Right to the left of my character, I got PS, GS, and SAC, and I've got my shield wall and AD. Just basically anything that I'm, taking in that'll help me, reduce damage. And I got Holy Shield in the middle just because I just like it there. Keep it center. To the bottom left, I've got my Mirror Broken Images in case I'm ever using it. That question mark is actually Horn of Winter. I don't know why it's showing up. I got Inquisition and Sacred Duty proc on either side of my Holy Power, and that's actually a Holy Trinity. It's an add-on on main tanking, and it's actually got my Word of Glory cooldown right underneath it. Trekkie from Method uses that.
Oh, what's that add-on? Because I don't really like the CLC prop one that I'm using. This one looks a lot cooler.
It's Holy Trinity. I can link that too. It's on the same site, main tanking.
Yeah, I'll check that out, because I don't like this CLC. I don't like having the ability on top of my Holy Bar and all that stuff all the time that it wants me to hit. What's the one you have right above your 3 Holy Power with a 55-second cooldown on it?
Oh, that's just Windwalk.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. You never know.
But is that showing the ICD on it? Or
no,
what?
no. My ICD stuff is an add-on called Extra CD. If you look below my character, you can see my 2 trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can watch that there. And I got my bubble, and I got the same power for a domino proc when the shield goes up, so I know if it's down.
So wait, you're saying like whenever your Indomitable proc goes active, it'll put a cooldown on your icon underneath your raid frame?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty cool, yeah. And then what was... Or I'm just curious, how does Windwalk have 55 seconds or whatnot? What is that about? Or is that just you hit test
Oh,
all?
this is just test. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this is actually a pretty neat UI. I'm a fan. I like it quite a bit. I especially like your little Holy Power mod that's got Sacred Duty and Inquisition and whatnot on it. So I'm guessing when Sacred Duty is active, it highlights lighter than that, or just like that?
Oh no, that's not part of the mod.
Oh, that's a power aura? Oh, okay.
Power, yeah.
Oh, never mind. I thought that the mod had it on both sides.
I can send you the strings if you want.
No, I can. Yeah, I can make those pretty easy.
But
yeah, that's cool.
What happens if I Word of Glory? It'll actually have like a little timer bar right beneath it. I just thought it was better than just another power aura for cooldown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, good stuff. I'll have that in the link info whenever we get this uploaded. We're gonna hop back to the vid here, and do you have that vid open on your screen or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, just pop that in real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to your opener, and then I just want you to, because you'd be surprised how many people that tune in and watch this stuff. They just they're kind of coming from scratch. They don't really have a full understanding of like how to min-max even an opening rotation or whatnot from a tank perspective, and just try to go over kind of how you open and what you're doing and why for the first few seconds.
For the first few seconds, well, the other tank was pulling, or Death Knight,
okay.
One of the guild I was in. Pop Golem Blood Potion, and then I immediately pop Wings, and then I hit Inquisition, and then I hit my Avenger Shield just to get more hit into it. And then I judge to get the debuff on the... I usually judge on the pull, but here I didn't, just to get that swing timer debuff. And then... basically, you can see here with my Inquisition and then my Sacred Duty, I would shield and then just keep it up. At the start here, I'd pop everything except 80. I don't know why. I guess it was late or something. And this is when all the healers go down. So I'm just getting a nice damage reduction on the raid, even though they don't really need it, just because, it helps. And, yeah, Consecrate, just to get it up.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, do you have a way to see like your damage output, like how hard your stuff's hitting on the boss, or you just don't really keep up with that?
In this UI, I didn't, but now I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So, and then one thing that people are asking is, you see, or how did you guys do groups actually? What did you stay out with the entire? Or, yeah. How did you guys split your groups up for the Hour of Twilight?
It was. If you look in the raid frames, the first group was I don't remember how we did our raid frames, but basically Death Knight Tank would have his own group, I would have my own group, and then the remaining 3 groups would be their own essential raid group. Yeah. It's the standard, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing what you desacked every time that your group was staying out? Or no?
I desacked after every time my group was out. Because we had a VB, there was a whole spreadsheet. It was just the timing, and I would have a DSAC backup for time loop too.
Oh, okay. So how would you? Let's see. I was just seeing how close you're cutting your fading lights and things like that. Let's see. How did you deal with? How did you and the other tank go with switching and whatnot? Did you guys? Would you guys always have the same tank pick it up coming out of the Hour of Twilight, or would you just let it stay on whoever it was on? How did you guys deal with that?
We would let it stay on whoever it was. Basically, it was just, instead of having, mumble, too many people talking, I would just tell them to taunt, and then I would taunt, just to keep it simple.
Right.
So, yeah.
And what were some of the things that you, what did you guys kill this, week 1 or week 2, or what?
This was... I don't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it was the 3rd week, because we were having problems. Oh.
Yeah, what were some of the things that you had to? I mean, some people look at it like, oh, you're just standing there, you're just doing nothing but getting hit by the boss. But I mean, tanking is a little bit more intricate than that, and there's a lot more to it than just meets the eye. So I mean, like, what were some of the things that you had to, going into the fight initially that you would say, you were kind of like, oh man, I could do this or that better? What were some of the things that fall into that category for you?
Well, initially, damage as a tank was huge as a fight. I mean, anything was helpful. I mean, bears and warriors were doing like 30k, 28k, something stupid. And, I mean, I was pulling my 23k, but basically keeping Holy Shield up at all times that I have the boss. And as the fight went on, I just got more comfortable when to use cooldowns when I come up, what I'll have. I always have my shield wall when I go to hour. How long will that last over? What do I have to use next? What will be up? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I moved my shield wall, my AD, and my DG with those weird power wars right above my uniframe then, just for that fight and on, because my uptime on it wasn't what I wanted it to be.
So, just to double check, I'm pretty sure that the Vamp Blood, like initially, I think all the tank 4 pieces, like the very beginning, they weren't really affected by the Last Defender of Azeroth buff, but I noticed that this week we were just messing around in there and noticed that they were getting amplified. And what I mean by that is, like, say I pop Vamp Blood and it's on me for 20 seconds because of the buff, but the 4 piece was still only 10 seconds on the raid. But this, now, I don't know when that changed. Is it the same way with DG at the beginning?
Yeah, it was the same way in our kill, yeah. If you look closely, one of my mods actually says raid wall up for 12 seconds. And yeah, his VB was up for 20. So yeah, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, so, let's see. So, I mean, yeah, this, for those of you that haven't done this fight, this is more of a, straight up raw DPS check. Usually each tier has one. And, Light and Firelands, it was Belrock. This tier it was this. I guess you could say in tier 11, I would probably go with, I don't know, I guess there wasn't really, maybe Chimaron, maybe? I don't know. What they would, that'd be about the only fight that you kind of just had to stand there for the most part. But, yeah, it's the patchwork fight of each tier. And you basically burning the boss and trying to kill it. The 6-minute enrage timer is a hard enrage, and you got to make sure that you have all the cooldowns lined up at the very end. That's kind of what he's doing here. It looks like he's setting on your. At what point were you popping your DSAC at the end?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
At the end, you said?
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
He's a Jack Russell. He's annoying as hell.
No, yeah, I know what you mean, man. I got a Dachshund. He'll come in here all the time when I'm trying to do stuff. And he's like, he knows when I'm on the mic, and then he'll start barking at stuff. So
it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, right when Time Loop popped, actually our Death Knight would VB, and then about 10 seconds in VB, I would DG.
And then I guess what you guys were saving the barrier till the end.
Yeah, we actually had. I think we had 2 discs. Yeah, we had 2 disc priests, so we had 2 barriers.
Oh, that's really nice then. Yeah,
Which
2 discs. Really nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. I should think you had.
And 200 things to point out is if you're gonna have a fading light power aura, make sure it shows the 100 seconds because you can cut it pretty close post 1 second. And also, if you're a prop paladin, sack, it's the duration is increased too. So keep that in mind.
I actually didn't even know that. So if you sack someone, it stays on the opposing player for twice as long since it's coming from a prop pally. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, we're going to quickly look over your Warmaster vid, then we're just going to do a couple logs, and then that'll be the wrap. But toss this link in stream chat. And this is in your previous individual guild still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This was about a week later.
And so you guys are using the cleave strat for the drakes?
Yep.
And whatnot? How often, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you can go ahead.
I was just going to ask, like, what, I know some people were commenting in chat or whatnot, they were curious, like, how often do you find yourself using Divine Plea?
Actually, It depends. I mean, if I'm really starved, I'll use it, but I'm never like sitting on it or like, oh, I should be using Divine Plea now. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just situational. It's not really a game changer.
Do you use it on the opener very often, just for that 3 extra holy power off the bat?
Yeah,
Use it for your shield slammer to get your Inquisition up. Just curious.
it depends on the fight, but yeah, Shield Slam usually.
Let's see. So, as this video is playing and whatnot, what were some of the things that you? I mean, phase one's not really that tank intensive in any regard, but once we get to the second phase, which should happen here in about 2 minutes on the video, what were some of the things that you had to deal with, like being a prop pally, that you thought were something unique for you, your class rather?
Um, Nothing really unique per se, but having to deal with keeping Divprot unglyphed and then taking a Twilight Breath was pretty huge. If you in the video, I actually get I call for a GS right before I started dipping, so I just called for it and it saved my life.
What what were you trying to get guarded by the light active, or for the Twilight Breath or whatnot, since you had to do Div Prod Unglyphed?
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about whenever you were tanking? How do you handle your cooldowns once you're picking up Warmaster at the end?
I'll take him up, I'll judge him, and then I'll get Holy Shield up, and then once one stack comes up, I'll usually Divprot, and then basically off that, it's Word of Glory as much as possible.
It looks like here in the vid you guys are having a couple Shadow Priests soak the large ones almost in full there. That's a pretty unique way to deal with it. I know I've heard of people doing or whatnot. I mean, does how much damage does the boat take whenever you guys do that?
Um, I don't remember. If you look in the top left, I actually had the boat health up there.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, let me
We
check
actually had
this
mages do it, so they're cauterized.
There's a Shadow Priest that, let me find that again. Okay, here it is. So the boat goes from, looks like 22%, or I'm sorry, 32, so it's only about 3% damage, so that's pretty interesting. I figured it would lose a lot more than that, because it's still split among the amount of people. The boat just counts as one, so that's pretty good to know, that you could do it like that and only lose a couple percent. So we're gonna fast forward here and get to the end. Okay, here it is. Or well, the last phase. Did you? Okay, so you're taking with a blood DK. I'm guessing you picked the boss up first, or or he picked it
He
up.
picks it up.
Okay. Yeah, because you want him on the Drake first. I'm guessing.
Right away. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's exactly the same way we did. Just because him having AMS and things like that for the breath.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
How did you find handling positioning on the boss to be for this fight?
This was only like our 5th attempt in phase 2, and we actually killed it. So we weren't like hugely comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really bugs me, once you have your tanks crossed, I mean, I've seen guilds who go up to the side of the boat. I mean, I know you guys stand in the middle, and then you have the Drake all the way off. We just crossed them. But one thing that really annoys me, I don't know if they even fixed it, but his hitbox, you can see in the video. I go to taunt him after he gets 3 stacks.
Yeah.
And which was a mistake on my part. I was like, oh shit, and because I wasn't paying attention, and he jumps back because the hitbox is weird. So
yeah, that's what I was
really
getting at. It's quite annoying trying to move him around and whatnot. It's you almost have to be directly on top of the other tank to taunt to keep him from out without shimming much, and then once if he ever does move, it's just a pain in the ass to get him back where you want him to be. But I'm guessing you set on your Guardian pretty much all the way until the very end. You wanted that up at the end of the fight.
I actually used my Guardian early when I had Goriana, and then I think I get a PS at the end here. But yeah.
Let's take a look here. The dragon's about to fly off, and we're going to look at how you and the DK deal with. As a DK, it was pretty rough because you could.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw that video of me on PTR. I was just like, I got literally global. It hit me for like the Devastate and then the melee and Sunder Up. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. I took like over
Yeah,
200,000 damage in a global.
him getting 3 stacks at that one point was pretty scary for me because I thought he was just gonna get hit like a train for that one melee prayer taunted.
So I noticed you have your debuffs here next to your character, which is good. Have you always played with them like that, or did you? Is that something that you kind of change as you play the game a bit more or whatnot?
Well, if it's like a huge debuff, I'll usually just power it, but I just like having it over there. I recently switched to the buff bars for the debuff just because I like seeing a bar for my debuff a lot better, and with the name and the stack, it's just more visually appealing to me. So yeah, but I just like having it close by.
Yeah, that just goes back and gets in what I was saying, that like with your UI and a lot of other tanks UIs that are in good guilds or just good tanks in general. That, you have everything kind of centralized towards your character. I know I used to play with a DK named TM in one of my old guilds, and he had his debuffs like all the way in the top left or on another monitor or something. And it's just he would always die to any debuff that was on him and things like that, and a lot of that was in part due to not being able to look at it right next to his name and whatnot, or not next to his character. So this looks pretty clean kill for you guys there, as far as progression goes. That's it's like nobody even dead, so that's good. Cool stuff. Now I'm just gonna go over a couple logs, or at least one, and then we're gonna open it up for some people that have questions for you, and then any questions that you have, and we'll go over some of those. So, we're going to take a look at your Heroic Spine progression kill that you gave me a link to. This is in Vigil, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's take a look at some of his buffs and just see what he's got going on here. Let's look at how often he's using DivProt. Let's look at... Did you say you were you kiting on this kill or the blood guy?
On the first few kills on this kill too, we had a feral tank do the amals, and then he would burn the tendon, and I would pick up everything at the new amal, etc., and then he'd take it off me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting any excess bloods come phase 2 and on.
Who was kiting once you guys hit plate 3?
Rinks are part warrior.
Oh, okay. And one thing that's really frustrating about it prop out, I don't know why that you still can't see whenever you shield wall through the buffs. I don't know why it doesn't show up. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
As I hear you're using Inquisition, I'm guessing that was just to help DPS down either Bloods or AMAGs, whatever you were on at the time. Or even the Tendon too? Okay.
Yeah.
How much damage were you able to output on the Tendon whenever it was active? Do you have any idea? Or
first plate, I would usually get about 3% for the whole damage done to it, and plate 2, I mean, I really couldn't do anything because the bloods then were pretty ridiculous. I mean, I would throw a hammer on it or judge what I could or shield it, but it wasn't my job.
Let's see. I was just taking a look at tendon damage and all that stuff. So yeah, you got about 217k. It's yeah, it's pretty about in line with. It's just like all the other the non-DPS classes try to milk out a little bit extra damage. That Prot Warrior actually got quite a bit of damage in. What did you guys have him doing so he could get so much damage in? Was he like free of ads on him at the time or something?
Do you know what timestamp is that?
No, I'm just looking at overall burning tendon damage. Yeah.
Oh, on the first blade he could get a lot in. He would just rend stuff like that under it.
Okay. That's good stuff.
This was a messy kill, to say the least, but pretty nerf nonetheless.
What'd you guys have happen that made it go bad?
Early on, or post the 6th lift, our Dispeller died, and our other Holy Paladin was So basically we had a dot ticking. Then I died because I was taking as many bloods as I away from the raid.
Yeah.
And I just died to damage and lack of heals. And then, yeah, the debuff, I was watching it too. It was about to go off, and he got a dispel on it. and we killed it. So it was pretty crazy. And that was like the first week I joined too, so head first.
Yeah, I see you're actually using your Hand of Sack on this RIOU. Is that the Druid tank? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've pretty much got it on him several times. So it's always good to see stuff like Prop Paladins using their utility. Because you see a lot that don't, just throwing out Hand of Sacrifices, salves. I mean, salve's not really as beneficial as it was, say, like in, Wrath or whatnot, but
I still salve myself on Madness.
Oh, whenever the other tank taunts, yeah.
Yeah. When I come back and I still got full vengeance from all the blood and stuff, I just salve myself.
Let's see.
Just to be safe.
What did you have a rotation really for your div prot? I'm assuming you had 4-piece when this was happening.
Every roll, and I think I had it for the second pop or the first pop.
Cool. Okay. So that was just a quick overview of how he was popping cooldowns on his spine progression kill and things like that. So we've kind of been talking about a lot of stuff. Time's going by pretty quick, but I want you guys that have any questions for him at all in stream chat to go ahead and ask him over anything that we've covered, his UI, his armory, any of the vids that we've watched or anything like that. You guys feel free to go ahead and ask some questions to him, and that way you can get him to answer those. And then outside of that, I just want to know if you had any questions on your end, like to me or to any of the people in the stream or whatnot.
I've got a few for you, yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead while it's like some stream lag, so it'll take a bit for their questions start popping up.
Initially in tier 12, I know you guys had healing issues come rag, and you guys finished a little farther back than you guys wanted to. How did you deal with that and overcome it?
A large part of it was just like replacing some of the healers that were subpar, but more so than anything, it was just we benefited by just pushing through it and people not, giving up, because everybody knew kind of like what we were. Everybody knew that whenever we finished tier 12, we were just like, this is just shit. You know what I mean? Like everybody was just like, this was absolutely horrible, and we knew that we could have done a lot better. And the whole guild is going through a leadership change, and not only just the healers, but yeah, the guild as a whole. And I don't know, more than anything, it was just like getting a good working relationship with each other. I don't know if you're ever having like healing issues, like it's just, especially as a tank, because it's something that directly affects your performance. I mean, even if you're a good tank, it's not really going to help you out if your healers are, bad. So, I mean, you definitely have to have a good working relationship with them. And, I'm not saying, walk around and, stroking each other's penises and things like that, but, just get and be like, hey, we've got to be able to communicate, we've got to be able to work together. And, eventually it just comes down to them buying into, or everybody in the guild buying into the system to, push as hard as you can, and if they want to do that, they'll end up making it work.
Yeah. And another thing would be, I guess it's just a follow-up of that, like how well you guys did in tier 13. I mean, do you want to just kind of talk about that? Well, you came from going into raid leader from tier 12 into this right off the bang. Like, what did you guys do besides the normal raids and stuff to kind of mentally prepare?
Well, I mean, like coming out of tier 11, like Bastion, Blackwing, things like that. Ararat, I know he was pretty much like the face of the guild for its first 5 or 6 years. He's kind of transitioning to his real life job and things of that nature, and then that's kind of whenever I stepped into the raid leader role coming out of tier 11, and then tier 12 was the first tier that I was the raid leader, and that's what a lot of the growing pains were met, is because the way that I kind of like wanted to do things and do things clashed a lot with some of the members that were more used to the way that Ararat did things, and tier 12 was more of just a growing pain process. And then when tier 13 came, I mean, once tier 12 got into farm, it was very much identified during tier 12 progression that there was a rift between some of the people in the guild on the direction the guild wanted to go and how hard we wanted to push things. And then that's whenever it took tier 12 for us to get it and just hammer it out, like, look, this is what we want to do. you know, let's do it. This is the goal. This is the path, and these are the objectives that we're going to, you know, follow. So, you know, going into Tier 13, it was a lot less of a gray area. You know, everybody knew the goal. And I mean, there's the huge elephant in the room that everybody wants to talk about, and it's like, oh, hey, you know, well, LFR bans and shit like that. I mean, yeah, obviously that had an impact on the rankings, but, you know, you know, I mean, who knows what would have happened if it wouldn't have. You know, we would have been 1 or 2 spots lower, you know, maybe, who knows. But either way, we're going to improve where we were last year. And, you know, if anybody's been watching the stream, they always hear me compare PvE rating to just playing professional golf. I mean, it's like you're only playing against yourselves, and, you know, that's kind of the direction that we're taking going forward, is, you know, making sure that we're doing the best that we can, and wherever that ends up putting us, that's where we'll be. So.
Yeah. And the last thing would be, what is your stand on basically the lack of, you know, Blood Death Knights in high-end, these top-end guilds? I mean, I can't even name any off the top of my head, to be honest. I mean, what's your view on that?
There's like a few. I mean, there isn't a lot, but I mean, like if you're looking at like top 10 or 15 world guilds, it's like I know Inner Sanctum had one, and I think me and him were the only 2 in the top 15 last year. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say that it's a shortage, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just not a class that a lot of people are. It's a little different. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's harder, or easier, or anything like that. It's just, it is a bit different, and it takes a little bit more management to be good at it to an extent, because, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to downplay another tank class, but if you're not really on top of managing and juggling like 6 cooldowns, you know, per 2 minutes on average, you're going to be dealing with, you know, finding yourself dying a lot, and that's never really any good. So I don't know if it's just lack of desire to see people playing them or what, but it's definitely not lack of, you know, potential from the class itself. I guess it doesn't bother me, but I'm not sure why there aren't more, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I love tanking with them. I mean, the utilities they're bringing, I'm having fun playing mine. I just want to take your opinion on it.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to just pick out like 2 questions here from these guys. This one guy asks, is there a download link to your UI?
Not at the moment, but I can put one up if you guys want.
Okay, and then I'm going to take one more here. This guy wants to know, what did you think about Burning Blade as a server?
I was Alliance side, and Horde was where everyone was, and that's also where Unholy Trinity is. As a server, I thought it was pretty subpar. I mean, the economy was okay. It was kind of more of like a close niche, unlike Mount Gannis or something like Illidan. But for the people in Demise, I mean, I enjoyed most of them. So that's that.
Okay, cool. Alright, so actually then the last one, I knew this was going to be popping up. I guess, I mean, we had a lot of people join and whatnot, but this one guy's asking what your opinion on mastery versus, I'm sorry, not mastery, stamina versus avoidance.
Avoidance is nice, but you've got something, you always got the issue of diminishing returns, and if you're not balancing it well, it could come back to bite you, and that stamina is always there, even on magic intense fights, and you can't dodge or parry a magic dot, so.
Cool stuff. Alright, awesome. This actually turned out pretty well. We had just more viewers on this one than we have out of any of the others, so all in all, it's yeah, thanks for hopping on here and doing that, especially on short notice, because I know you kind of just you know, got in the mix last night for doing so. So definitely appreciate you hopping on here. If you ever got any questions or whatnot, I mean, you got me on Skype or just want to talk, or I mean, whatever, man, just hit me up. But yeah, thanks for showing up and doing the show with us.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, cool. All right, man. Have a good day. I'll catch you later on.
All right, see you, dude.
Yep. Okay, well, that wraps that up. I'm going to just give a quick recap. I mean, I'll have this uploaded on YouTube either late tonight or tomorrow sometime. You know, I have every show put on my YouTube. If you guys want a link to it, it is, you know, found all over the page, the bottom of my stream info and things like that. You know, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you guys are new to this stream, just go ahead and hit the follow button if you can. We've got shows going pretty much every day, Sunday through Friday. Tomorrow's our special guest interview. We're going to have Zoomkins from Blood Legion. He's our guild, one of our guild's Moonkin, and things like that. So definitely got more stuff coming up tomorrow. And tonight we have raids coming up in less than an hour. So make sure you're around for those. But all in all, again, thanks to Spazzo for hopping on here and going through some of his logs, videos, armory, screenshots, and all that stuff. Yeah, so good show. Thanks for watching. I'll have it uploaded on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, just put them on my Twitter. I've got to bounce. There's been somebody like spamming my phone for a bit, so I got to see what's going on with that. We got a raid going in less than an hour, so make sure you guys are staying around for the raids. And then I always got something going on after the raid. So I'm going to run a couple commercials since I haven't ran any the whole time. And you guys make sure you stick around for the raid. All right? Thanks.